Hey guys, this is the first time I've done a live video in like maybe a year or maybe more. It's so weird. I used to do live videos all the time. If you guys have been following me for a while, I used to do wall sits and planks like once every week with my friend Adriana in Clovis, and that was so fun, and I miss doing that. So anyway, I might get this video done, or I might have to cut it short because Miles is sleeping and the dogs like to bark and wake him up. So I might have to cut this short, but I wanted to hop on here because I wanted to tell you guys my birth story. A lot of people have been messaging me, asking me like how everything went because I was doing the hypnobirthing classes, and generally I think just people are curious, and so I wanted to hop on here and kind of tell you guys a little bit about what happened. So Jeff and I were doing hypnobirthing classes, and so if you don't know what that is, it's basically it stemmed from Lamaze, so it's all about breathing and trying to have a natural birth, and having a relaxed birth with little to no pain. Oh no, he's getting shifty. I have him on the baby monitor and he's like getting shifty. So anyway, so we were doing that, and it was amazing. It was super fun. We meditated a lot in class, and so anyway, I wanted that to help me have a natural birth. And so Miles actually came 2.5 weeks early. So at like 2 a.m. on the 17th of July, I just like kind of just like woke up. I don't know what woke me up, but I just woke up, and like a few seconds later, like I felt like my underwear got wet and I was like, did I just pee myself? Because that's not like a weird question for me to ask myself, but I'm like, did I just pee myself? No, I think my water just broke. And I was like, I got like immediately like, holy shit, like this is happening. And I was like, Jeff, I think my water just broke. And I'm all like holding myself, like running to the bathroom, to the toilet. And it was just, like coming out. And sorry if there's guys listening to this. And it was just like coming out. And I was like, I think my water just broke. And Jeff said that he like didn't believe me. He thought I had peed myself. So anyway, I'm like trying to like clean myself up. I'm like, this is pointless. So then I just like hop in the shower, and we're like, I should probably call the doctor. So, I called the doctor, and the call service was like, we'll let her know to call you. Within like, seriously, like less than a minute, the doctor called back. I was pretty impressed. And I'm just like in the shower, and like it was super weird because I felt really ready for this whole birthing process, and I actually wasn't afraid for like to have a vaginal birth. That doesn't mean that like if it actually happened, like I would have been like freaking out. But leading up to the birth, I wasn't afraid. And so then it was really strange because I was in the shower and I like was shaking. Like I immediately just was like talking to like the doctor, and Jeff's like, are you cold? And I'm like, I don't know. Like I'm just shaking. And so, anyway, I'm talking to the doctor, and she's like, are you having contractions? And I'm like, no, I don't feel anything. Like my water just broke. And she's like, are you sure you didn't pee yourself? And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure I didn't pee myself. And all these questions. And so anyway, she's like, okay, we'll be at the hospital in 2 hours. So I get out of the shower, and Jeff's like, I'm going to go get gas. And then he just like leaves to go to the gas station. And I'm like, I hope he comes back. It's a really strange time to get gas. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to pack my bag because I had everything packed. Like I had all these like strange things packed. I had like cards, coloring books. I had Jolly Ranchers because they said that you can have Jolly Ranchers. And I had like my computer, like all this stuff. And I just needed to put my clothes in there. So I literally like walked around my house for like 20 minutes while Jeff was gone, holding underwear in my hand. Like, and I don't even remember really like what I was doing. I just kind of like came to, and I was like, what was I doing? Oh yeah, I was supposed to be like packing my bag, but I've just been walking around the house with underwear in my hand for like 20 minutes. So I was like really nervous, and cause like you have this thing inside of you for like 9 months, and the only way to meet it or him or her is it has to come out one of two ways. And I'm like, holy shit, this is happening. And anyway, so like I pack my bag and we like go up to the hospital and we all like get checked in, and the doctor like asked me a bunch of questions, and they bring in the ultrasound machine to just kind of check the baby to see like where the baby's at, what the baby's doing. And Miles was breached. So that was a shocker to me, because for the last like month and a half, I had been going to the doctor, and I don't know if I just like chose an archaic doctor, but like they rarely did ultrasounds on me. And when they did, like they didn't have like 3D capability. So I didn't like get 3D pictures from them. So he brings the ultrasound machine in and he's like, your baby's breached. And I'm like, what the fuck? Because for the past like month and a half, the doctors had been manually like feeling my belly, and they're like, we're like really sure, like he is like head down, he's ready to come out. And so I'm like, man, like at first I was like, did he just like, recently flip, or has he been breached this whole time? And I got kind of mad because I'm like looking forward to having a vaginal birth, and if there were things that I could do to flip him, then I would have done that. And so I'm like asking all these questions, like, are there positions that I can get into? Can you manually move him? And the doctor's like, you have no options. There's not enough amniotic or fluid in there to move him around, and you're gonna have to have a C-section. So I was like, what? Because I had only had one surgery before that, and I like didn't really do so well with the anesthesia. I like came out of it and was like a raging bitch. So so I was like, oh, okay, are you sure? Like, can I just like get on all fours? And like I watched these YouTube videos, like I feel like there's something we can do. And he's like, no, you're gonna have to have a C-section. So with the hypnobirthing classes, they kind of teach you to meet your pregnancy and your labor and delivery, like wherever it meets you. And so, if you do end up having the vaginal birth, like awesome. If you end up having to have a C-section or there's complications, then they kind of teach you to kind of like go with the flow, and not get upset about things that are happening that you didn't really plan for. So I kind of like, remember that, just breathe. And I think my friend Michelle and Jeff were like more upset, and my parents were more, or my mom were more upset about me having to have a C-section than I was, because there wasn't really anything I could do about it. And I didn't want to go into the OR, with this like chip on my shoulder, being upset at the doctors because he was breached, or being upset that I had to have a C-section. So anyway, I was like, okay, like, so like, what do we do now? So they like prepped me and like wheeled me to the OR, and like we got to the door, and I'm like, this is like really happening. And it was seriously like super awesome, because I went, we had the baby at Wake Med in Cary, and I walked into the OR, and it was like I was having coffee with my girlfriends. Everyone was so like awesome and nice, and I'm all just like, oh, where are you from? Like, how long have you lived here? And what kind of accent is that? And we're all just like talking, how long have you worked here? And it was really awesome, and everybody was so friendly. And I got like the thing on my back. I don't even know what it's called, but I couldn't feel my legs, and that was the thing that I was mostly worried about, because I didn't have control over my body, and I was awake. So I was like really afraid about that, because like, when you like sit on your leg for too long, like it kind of felt like that, without the tingly sensation coming back. So it was just really strange not being able to move my legs. But everybody there was like super awesome. And so, they're like doing their thing, and I'm like hearing all this weird shit happening down there, like suction, and like I can feel my body being like moved up and down, and I couldn't feel any pain, but I could just feel pressure. And so I was like, wow, this is like super weird, and Jeff was there with me the whole time, and they let us bring our cell phones in, which was super awesome. So Jeff was taking pictures with me, and then he got to take pictures of Miles when they brought him out. But anyway, so they had asked me, like, do you want to see him when we take him out? And I'm like, yeah. And in hindsight, I'm like, man, I know myself. I should have said no. So there's like two like screen things between me and like the doctor, and they like drop one of them down and they like hold Miles up, and it's just like something out of Carrie, like just blood everywhere. Just like the baby is like flinging blood all over the place and he's screaming, and I'm like, I knew like he was gonna be bloody, but I was not freaking ready for this. Like, and like there was just like shock and awe and horror on both Jeff and I's face, and I was like, oh wow, okay. And then, you know, they like lowered him and like went to go do whatever they do, and like the APGAR score thing, and so that is when I started feeling really like sick and kind of like anxious. And so I asked Jeff, you know, to like put my earbuds in so I could listen to this track that our teacher from our hypnobirthing class did for us. And so it's supposed to like help you calm down, you know, and kind of like get into this mindset of relaxation. And I like need that. So because I could like hear them talking about what was going on down there, and I could hear all these things. And then I was like, holy shit, like we have a baby now. And I started getting like really anxious. And so I listened to that hypnobirthing track, and I did the breathing techniques that they had taught us, and it helped to really calm me down. And then they tried to do skin to skin with me, but I was just like, no, like take him away. I just like I was feeling really sick. So yeah, and then they like, you know, cleaned me up and sewed me up, and it was a really quick process. And then we went to the recovery room, and I was up that night walking around, and it was actually like more painful maybe like 3 or 4 days after the surgery. And it was really weird because there's one medication that they give you, I think it's for pain, that made me super itchy. It's like my entire body was like really itchy. And I think he's gonna cry. Anyway, so yeah, and she said to get up and walk as soon as you can. And so I walked that night, and when we got home, I would like walk up and down the street, and she said not to go to any like big box stores because you could like get to the back of the box store, like Target, and then you're like, holy shit, like I'm sore and too tired to walk back to the car. So yeah, so anyway, that's my story. And I will say, like, it is major surgery. And I listened to everything the doctor said. I didn't exercise for 6 weeks. I would walk around, and I didn't carry anything that I wasn't supposed to. Maybe a couple of times I like did, but yeah, I just listened to what the doctor said, kind of took it easy, and my scar healed up really good. There was never an infection. I never tore again. And there's kind of like a burning sensation there, that I can feel whenever I like move around or if I exercise. But they said that's normal. So, all in all, it went well. So yeah, I had to have a C-section. It wasn't ideal. But honestly, like, I was like super afraid of having a C-section, just because I'm like, they cut you open, and then like, it's probably going to like tear, like whenever you move, and like for the rest of your life, you know, it's just going to be like this horrible thing. And like, then there's like the thought in my head of like the women that say you didn't really like give birth to a baby. Like, are you really a mom if you didn't push a baby out of your vagina? Which I don't agree with that. But then I was like thinking about that, and I'm like, that's bullshit. So yeah, it was like, I was more scared in the shower my water broke than I was like throughout like the entire process. I don't know if it was because the doctor and everybody there like made me feel so comfortable, and everybody at WakeMed was like awesome, or what it was, or if it was just like a mindset thing. But it couldn't have gone more perfectly, even though it didn't go the way that I planned. So yeah, that's our birth story. A lot of you guys have been asking about it, so I just thought like I would just tell you guys. But yeah, if you have any questions about C-sections, I'm like not the know-all of it, but I just did go through it. So if you have questions about it, I'm here to help you. Jeff and I actually went to a class that told you about like what to expect when you get a C-section. And I was like, I just want to like unhear and unsee everything that we just saw, because they like passed around like all these like catheters and like that like Foley tube. And I'm like, no, we're not having a C-section. Like, so I'm just going to like forget everything that we just heard. And it like physically like made me feel sick. And then Jeff's all like getting shifty in his chair. We're listening to the lady talk about it. And then we ended up having a C-section, but it wasn't as scary as I had anticipated. Not saying that that's everybody's story, but the doctor did say that the exercise before leading up to that point did help with the actual surgery and then like the healing process afterwards. So again, just another reason why exercise does your body good. So yeah, that's it. I'm glad that he didn't wake up. He's being such a good baby today. I actually got to put makeup on. So I hope you guys have an awesome Thursday. And if you guys have any questions about anything, I'm here. Okay, bye.